Now we get to another set of mental models, which is the mental models on branding. So the Coca-Cola company, basically, now the market cap of Coke is about 190 billion, and I'm guessing they're, probably 17 times or something. I think they're probably making 12 billion or 13 billion or something in after-tax profits, and the Coca-Cola company has always spent less than 10% of their revenue on branding. And one of the things about the branding is, so when you see a can of Coke, the can of Coke is actually branding, right? Because it's all got the Coke brand and everything. Who's paid for that? It's the bottler. Is that part of the 10% that the Coca-Cola company spends? No. That Coke can is completely paid for by the bottler. Those red trucks you see, paid by the bottler, right? That's also not part of Coke branding. Those are all things that are, so every single case and can and stuff about the fountain displays and all that is all kind of continuous branding going on without them spending a dime. Others are spending the money on that. And they, when Warren invested in the Coca-Cola company, they were spending less than $1 billion a year on branding at the time. And he said that if you gave me $100 billion and told me take away the market leadership of Coke, I would just return the $100 billion to you. It couldn't be done. So even though they had spent, so it had been 100 years, it had grown, they were spending less than $1 billion, a decade or two before that. The unusual thing about branding is that when things get etched in our brains, like Coca-Cola is etched in our brains, it has this kind of multi-year effect. So what Coca-Cola spends in 2016 on branding is not exhausted in 2016. It has residual effects even 50 years from now. So when you have a business that's been at it for 100 years or more, that brand just keeps getting more and more popular. And one of the things, another of the mental models is that red and yellow are primary colors for humans. We get attracted to red and yellow more than anything else. And that's so that when I look at logos and they use the color red and yellow, like McDonald's makes great use of red and yellow. Wells Fargo does great use. So especially logos which have those primary colors, I think they have more of an impact long term than the non-primary colors. And so basically, one of the things about Coke is that this brand has got itself so deeply etched into our psyche after all these decades and more than a century, that the cumulative effect of everything they've done in the last 100 years exceeds what they spent in the last 100 years in terms of brand value. It significantly exceeds that. So Warren felt that for $100 billion, you couldn't take away the leadership of Coke. And at the time they were investing in Coke, the market cap was less than 20 billion. So they were basically, actually it was I think probably less than, I think they, maybe 15 billion or something was the market cap. So they had a huge amount that they could get. And the other thing about Coke is that we'll finally turn on PowerPoint. Sorry to talk so long. Okay, so the other thing about Coke is that these are some scenes from different restaurants in India, in the middle of nowhere actually. They're not in any cities or anything. So if you see that top restaurant there, it's called Prakash Dhaba. That's in the middle of nowhere in India, and you see all that Coke signage everywhere. So here's how that happens. So the bottler, the Coke bottler, goes and meets the restaurant owner and says, listen, do you want a paint job? And do you need furniture? And all for free. He says, oh yeah, of course, furniture's great. So the furniture is going to be red. You see all the red furniture. The one table is probably what they had before. And then, the second is, he says, do you want like us to put your business name on the top. Like, he said, yeah, sure. So what they do is, you see on the left, the Prakash Dhaba name is a little bit there, and the rest is all Coke, right? And here's the funny thing. The restaurant owner loves that. And why does he love that? He loves that because people trust him. You know, he's got a trusted brand, and so now they think, oh, you know, this place, it can't be so bad. You know, we can get our Cokes and we can get all the other food and all that. So it's the what Munger would call the association tendency. So what happens here is the Coca-Cola company gives some matching funds to the bottler. And they tell the bottler, listen, go paint the town red. Okay, literally paint the town red, and we'll give you a little bit kind of a change. And so you see that the second picture on the left is the inside, not the same restaurant, different restaurant. That guy is only an outdoor place. So here, same thing. We'll give you a paint job, and you know all the furniture is red and everything's red, and the guy is probably very happy about it, and such. So so basically, the thing is that these types of signs and these types of insignia you would see deep in rural China. You know, very deep in rural China. You'd see very deep in rural India. Middle of nowhere, you'd see this. I mean, the penetration is way beyond the cities and all of that. It has gone deep into the hinterlands. And so that distribution all the way down at that level is extremely powerful. And so when you look at this brand, even though the company spends less than 10%, the actual amount of impact it has is just massive. You know, it's just huge. One time I interviewed a guy, and he worked for Coke in Atlanta, and he lived with them all over the world. He was originally from Morocco, and he was part of the team that managed the World Cup relationship for Coke with FIFA. That was his whole job, you know, football, you know, and not him and probably 30 other guys at Coke. And so I'll get into this a little bit later, but the association tendency of being at places where humans are happy, you know, so the FIFA relationship with Coke and all the global sponsorships, the Olympics, you know, so these are Disney, you know, so all of these places, McDonald's, where people are generally happy, Coke wants to be there, right? And so they've got this, the etching of this brand over the decades in all these places all over the world is huge.